karma is the belief that any good deed or bad deed that you commit in this life will ultimately, that energy you put into that will be bestowed upon you at a later point in life with equal magnitude. You do something really good, something really good will happen to you. Do something really bad, something really bad will happen to you. I used to believe in karma because I wanted to, and that's the reason I assume most people believe in it, because my life wasn't going that great, and I wanted to believe that there was a higher power out there. There was an ultimate ruler, an ultimate judge who could look at me and look at my actions and see that I was doing good things, and he could reward me. I thought there were some changes that could be made, and that ultimately I could do better, and this ultimate ruler would see that and would reward me as such. However, during that time, my life did not get any significantly better. It didn't really get better at all, and my life still isn't that great. But when I go out and try to be a good person in society, and this is the reason I think all people should do good, it's because a certain compassion, a certain obligatory feeling towards humankind for giving birth to me and creating technologies and coming up with advanced agricultural techniques and coming up with healthy food, and everything that happens in my life pretty much isn't because of me, it's because of society. And as much as I strongly dislike most of the people in society, I'm still not going to go out there and treat people like crap, because somewhere out there were people who invented these things, or there are ancestors of people who invented these things, and there are people who are capable of coming up with these things that do benefit us. So that's why I want to do good. It's not because have this selfish expectancy of something good to happen towards me, which is what karma is. It's the idea that we're not just good enough people. We don't just want to do enough good by ourselves and just have enough gratitude towards the people around us to do good. No, we have to want something in return. And so that's my biggest problem with karma, aside from the fact that it doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to go over about 4 types of karma that we generally subscribe to in the Western world. The first one is macroscopic karma, the idea that God is overlooking us. And people who are doing, very poorly, who are sick in hospital beds, are starving, or barely able to survive, or they're sick, they're there because they've done some horrible things. Or people who are all thriving are right here because they've done extremely good things. If you believe in this type of karma, then do me a favor, go over to Google, go down to the little search box and type in mental institution near and whatever area you live in. You are certifiable. You should go get yourself in a straitjacket, get on some meds, talk to some psychiatrists who can help you out, because you have failed at being able to observe this world with any sort of rational discernment. So, go ahead and do that for me. And do that for, society in general. It will help us. The second type of karma I want to look at is Buddhist karma, or the idea of reincarnation. I don't believe in reincarnation because there is no empirical evidence for its existence. But it is a nice thought. It is nice to think that we have reincarnation, because it brings some justice to a world that seems so lacking in it. It brings some order to a world that is seemingly bereft of it most of the time. It's a nice thought, When we see people who are victims of bombs and see people who are victims of natural disasters, it's a sad thing, and a lot of times we can't look at the people who died in those things and say that they deserved it. And there's a part of you that says, well, maybe they were a bad person in the past life, and maybe they actually, did deserve it. And because your mind can't really fathom otherwise why something like that would happen. Unless, of course, you're like me and you sort of doubt the whole karma and interventionist God thing, and that wonder if there's a God or not at all. I don't know. I haven't come to that conclusion at this point, but I'm agnostic on that matter. when it comes to reincarnation, people say, "Oh, there's proof for it." Some people look exactly like people who existed in past lives, and therefore they must be the incarnate of that dead person. And there are people who know things about people from past lives that they could only know if they themselves were that person or they had knew them in some way, and that's their proof that reincarnation is real. The problem with that is that when there's any percentage of the population who wants to believe something, for example, there are tons of books out there that exploit people's belief in religion, belief in aliens visiting this planet, their belief in doomsday, although a reticent sort of belief, a sort of fearful belief. I'm sure that many people don't want there to be the apocalypse in this lifetime or this year 2012, but their fear of it ultimately drives them to consume material on the subject. So that's my idea on reincarnation. That's why I think people say, "Oh, there's a proof of reincarnation." Of course, there's no proof. Of course, we don't know if there's an afterlife. We don't know if we get reincarnated. But nevertheless, people will exploit people's beliefs. The third type I want to look at is microscopic karma, which actually does exist. Now, this one's real. But I'm going to go over a couple reasons why I don't think it's interchangeable with the law of causation. In other words, if you put a bunch of gold in a bucket, or if you put a piece of gold in the bucket, there's going to be at least some more gold in that bucket. If you put some shit in that bucket, there's going to be a little more shit in that bucket. Or assuming there was any to begin with, there is going to be at least some gold or some shit in that bucket. And which means that if you put good out in the world, it's going to be a little bit better. If you put bad in the world, it's going to be a little bit worse. That's the law of cause and effect. So that's not really karma. And also, the reason I won't consider this karma is because when people talk about what goes around comes around, microscopic karma and just treating the society around you good and doing good deeds, that doesn't really benefit you in any way. And also, it's sort of like coming back from a trip to the beach and wanting to take sand, like, "Hey, Mommy, I found some sand in my pocket. I want to go back to the beach and take the sand back there." And your mom will say, "Why?" And you'll say, "Because I want to make sure there's sand next time I go to the beach." And of course, to that, your mom will say, "Well, that's ridiculous." And of course, if you do something good in the world, it's not going to, 1 person out of 6 billion is not going to have a huge impact. I'm sorry, it's just not. I wish that it did, but if you do something good today, it's not going to have a very big impact on the world. If you do something terrible today, it's not going to have that impact on the world. Unless you like nuke the planet or something, or bomb somebody or do something terrible. That your bad actions could actually carry more weight than a good action. But the reason the world survives and thrives is because there are people out there who subscribe to microscopic karma and want the world to be a better place, and they therefore act good. But like I said, it's not really karma. And it's kind of tragic in a way that we have enough good people and we have enough technology and resources to sustain us that it allows people to go out and act bad. Because if you go out and act bad today, it's not going to, our civilization won't crumble, because there are enough good people behaving in good ways, and there is enough technology, and there is enough resources, and we are abundant in things that will cause us to thrive as a society and as a civilization, and your bad behavior isn't going to slow us down. So go ahead and act like shit, because we know some people, you just can't resist that bad behavior. So go ahead with your shitty self. And the last one I'm going to go over is just what I'm going to call people karma, which is the idea that people will bestow relationships and friendships and job promotions and gifts upon you because they think you deserve it. So God is supposedly, God, if he exists, is this infallible creature up there that is perfect, doesn't make mistakes, and so on and so forth. People, however, are very fallible. They are not infallible. They are capable of guilt, or capable of guilt. That was stupid. That was pretty fucking dumb. They are capable of corruption. They're capable of, you know, greed and just gullibility. And if they shine favor on a person, that doesn't necessarily mean that the person who deserved it. Hitler stayed in power for about 6 years, committing the atrocities that he did. Now, he wasn't democratically elected. He was the vice president who became the president or the leader, and but the people around him allowed him to keep doing that. And there was a segment of the population in Germany that supported Hitler and liked what he was doing. So, we are somewhat relegated to, our success is somewhat restricted to how our society is and how our society, accepting our society is to certain viewpoints and stuff like that. Like, I'm kind of against war, or I'm really against war, and our society is kind of more for war than I would like and stuff like that. But for the most part, most societies have good people, and they allow good people to come into power, and they allow good people to succeed in society. But there are exceptions to that rule, and there are exceptions to sections of our society. Certain towns and certain cities, they like a lot of corrupt, evil people, and they elect them to be their public officials, and they bestow rewards upon them because they think they're good, or they're just shitty people themselves, and they are like, hey, there's another shitty person, I like him, yeah, I'd like to have a beer with that shitty person. So yeah, that whole people karma. And then, like, Joseph Stalin, okay, now he lived to be 74 and then he died of a heart attack, and there were people that supported what he was doing. And was he the recipient of karma while he was doing all those things? And then, because he eventually died, does that mean that was karma for all the millions of people he was responsible for killing? I mean, people are fallible. So that, when people show favor or support a person in society, that doesn't necessarily mean that they deserve it. So, as far as karma, I hope I've put forth some compelling ideas of why it doesn't exist in this world, and why would I want to dispel the notion of karma? Why would I want to do that? I don't know. Maybe I can save you the trouble of, if you're kind of a selfish person like I kind of am, save you the trouble of going out there and saying, I'm going to do this thing good, and I'm going to do that thing good, I'm going to help people, I'm going to be a more honest, more trustworthy person. If you want to do those things anyway, because that will make the world a better place. That will probably make you a better person. But don't expect a reward for it, because it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. If you want to do good, you're just going to have to rely on those things I said before. Like, if you exist in this world, if you're alive today and watching this video, or just like most people not watching this video and out breathing or doing whatever at the park, having sex, eating food, doing whatever it is you're doing, you're making the statement that I want to be here because you haven't killed yourself. Now, you might just be afraid to kill yourself like I am. My life's not that great, but, I go on because I think that eventually it could get better. And also, even though my life isn't that great, and even though sometimes I would like to just end my life, and for whatever reason I'm not willing to, but I'm still willing to go out and be nice to the people in society, because I do respect the fact that they have made my life better. I respect life and the fact that my parents gave birth to me, and the fact that everything that I enjoy in this world, through the senses, through art, well, maybe not like a nice flower I might smell or something like that, but pretty much every other thing, every form of entertainment, music, movies, games, anything that you like is a human invention, and you didn't come up with that invention unless you were like an inventor. But even if you were an inventor, 99% of the things out there you didn't invent, and you should be grateful for that. So that's your incentive to do good. So but as for karma, I don't think that it exists. And here's what I think of it. Oh, that's bad karma. Ooh, Ooh! Ah, son of a!